telling individuals what you think of the information, and we're going to rock and roll. So, guys, look, it's 7 o'clock, and what I got a big job ahead of me, because there's a lot of information that I want to share, and only a short amount of time to share it. And so we will get started. Now, this book here, I talk about create an impact. I've been contacted by so many individuals. In fact, that's the reason for the call tonight. You see, when I launched this book, I handed it out, and the first print run sold out within an hour. Okay, so I was a bit surprised at that. Well, it must be because of my good looks. But anyway, those people that got the first run, they started ringing me back within a few days of receiving the book. And I was getting feedback from, and I'm not talking just any Tom, Dick or Harry, I mean, so many people were ringing me up saying, Ian, this is fantastic. You know, I was up till 3 o'clock in the morning reading this book, and really I couldn't put it down. Now, I'd really love to know, firstly, you're a bastard, because I didn't get any sleep and I'm really tired, but I want you to go deeper into the information that you shared. Would you do that? Now, that didn't just happen with one person. I had so many people ring me up. So, guys, I'm telling you, this must be a pretty good book. Look, it should be. It's my heart and soul. I mean that. I've had some pretty interesting roller coaster rides in life, and I've learned some really amazing lessons from it. And they're the things that I'm going to be talking about tonight in this webinar. And it's time for us to get started and get this show on the road. So I've got a goal, guys, and that is to show you how nearly any serious business owner, and that's the word serious, can build a million or a multi-million-dollar business and create the financial and lifestyle freedom they desire. Now, what a mouthful. If you didn't know any better, would you think that someone's just trying to have a marketing pitch at someone? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you, and those that know me know how much I believe in this principle. Now, why do I say this? Well, because I've had to, I've become a bit of a master of making fortunes, and also I got pretty good at losing at once too, which wasn't very nice. But I do know that anyone that is serious about achieving success can do it, but they've got to be serious. And I know all of you on here are serious. You wouldn't be spending your time with me if you didn't want to improve the results that you're getting in your business. Now, when I work with business owners, and I do work with thousands of business owners, what I find with them in general, and I'll stick to the old 80-20 rule, is that so many of them have so many thoughts going through their head about the things that they need to put to bed. You know, God, I've got to master my online strategy. What the hell is that? What do you mean I've got to have pay-per-click? And who's going to look after it? And you kidding me? I've got to do Facebook, and I've got to do LinkedIn and social media. And how do I get the time to do that? I've got a company to run, you know. I don't know if I'm hitting any nerves here, guys, but that's pretty much what I see continuously. Not to mention, well, man, what about the KPIs in the business? Have you been monitoring the staff? Have they been getting the tasks done? And have you been managing to do customer satisfaction and ensure that you're doing a survey and making sure that everybody's happy? Now, guys, I'm just rolling off the tongue and just spitballing here, because I'm not a very scripted person, but I am running off slides here tonight. And the simple fact is that, yes, there are a lot of things going through everybody's mind. And many people have that look on their face. See that guy with the smile when I saw his crooked, wrinkled smile there, because a lot of people get a sense of overwhelm, guys. Are you connecting with where I'm coming from? And a lot of the reason I believe that happens is that there is too much knowledge in the world out there and not enough wisdom. Okay, now I was going to use the example of, I bet you there's some guy out there that wants to do open heart surgery, and he could go to YouTube and type in how to do open heart surgery and find the person doing it. Now, I was going to just do that very flippantly, and while I was just mucking around and thinking about it, I thought, you know what, I'll go into YouTube and I'll check. And guess what? I kid you not. There are videos there of people showing you how to do open heart surgery on someone. I mean, really? Gosh. Well, you know, maybe it isn't a good idea for you to go out there and do open heart surgery on yourself. I think the video goes along the lines of grabbing a bottle of scotch and get a scalpel and off you go. Well, you know, maybe they might show you how to do it, but it might not be too wise to make that happen. Who else finds that amazing, though? It really is incredible. So, guys, there is a lot of knowledge. And because there are so many things out there, so many things distracting you, so many things taking your attention, it turns into a pretty complicated world if you let it, okay? Now, before I cook into this and really share with you the principles tonight, I want to say a massive, massive thank you to my friends, and I mean this. I don't take anything for granted, ladies and gentlemen. Every morning when I wake up, I really appreciate the things that I have. I mean, I've got a spectacular life. I've got a wonderful family, a beautiful wife and daughter and son, and I am the luckiest man in the world. And I live in Australia. I mean, man, how good is that? But I even have something else that I want to be thankful for today. And so this webinar tonight, I mean, I've had something like, I don't know, 1,300 people, somewhere around there, come and have a look and witness the inconvenient truth. Now, I'm not exactly sure how many people are on the webinar right now because, quite honestly, I'm scared to touch anything in case I break it. But some people helped me make this happen. And I want to give a big shout out to them, a really heartfelt thank you. And that is Russell Brunson, spectacular. Alex Mendosian, another master. They're probably some of the greatest internet marketers on the planet. Then we've got my friend Roy McDonald. I've seen him help so many individuals. He's got a heart of gold, that guy. Darren Stevens and Steve Esser. Now, why am I thanking these guys? Well, for one, many of you won't realise it, but there's fans on here from each and every one of those areas, from all of those mentors, those experts in their field. They went out to their list for me because I put a request in only a week ago, by the way, guys. I put a request in. I said, guys, could you do me a favor? I want to do a webinar and I want to actually share some information with people, go deeper on it. And you know what? Most people would say, go jump in the lake, especially these guys, because their email calendar would be full for probably the next 6 months. I kid you not, but they did it for me. Okay, so I do say thank you so much. I do appreciate you. Those people on here from their environment, I say hello to you as well. You're very smart people because I know these guys very well. They're very dear friends of mine, and you couldn't have better mentors in your life. So with that being said, I want you all to grab a pen and paper, and I mean it. So I'll actually just give you a couple of seconds. If you haven't got a pen and paper there, I'll count to 3. You can race around, grab a pen and paper and come back. So 1, 2, 3. Why do you need a pen and paper? Well, you're about to see very shortly the important information I'm going to be sharing with you. And there's going to be a lot of right-me's, guys. I promise you that. So what are we going to learn tonight? Well, firstly, I'm going to be sharing with you, I guess, the main title of my book, and that is the real reason why most business owners don't become millionaires. And you won't be able to argue with the logic when I share it with you. Once I've done that, I will be sharing with you. It is a magic formula. It's the formula that I use to look at choosing $1 million and multi-million-dollar businesses that I want to create. And any of you that know a bit about my background know that I have created 5 of them now. So there must be a formula or a science to doing it. And then finally, I'm going to share with you one of the most powerful yet most overlooked marketing strategies in business. Now, this marketing strategy gives you the best paying clients. It gives you the highest conversion rate, and yet hardly anyone does it. So I thought enough's enough. I've actually got to share that with you as well. So that's my goal. Firstly, to make sure that you understand that you can achieve what you want to achieve, but you've got to be serious about it. All right, that's firstly. And then secondly, I'm going to be covering off on these areas, but they really come back to that main thing, okay? You can achieve what you want to achieve. Just get serious. Now, guys, with the information that I'm going to be sharing with you, it really, right to the very last minute, there's lessons to be learned. And so I want you to stay right to the end of this webinar. And for that, I'm actually going to offer an ethical bribe. I hope that's okay. It's a gift. And in fact, there's 2 gifts. So the first gift that I have for you is by the end of the webinar, you are going to see how you can find at least $50,000 in hidden profits in your business. I'm going to show you how that can occur. So that's worth hanging around for on its own, surely. I mean, when was the last time you had the opportunity to find $50,000 in an hour? Goodness me. Well, the second gift, though, and this is one of my favorite reports. This is one of my favorite white papers. Now, what this does, it does show you the fastest, easiest, most profitable way to double your business income. And there's not one piece of fluff, not one word in there that does not belong you're going to love this white paper. So our technology will tell us how long you've been in it for and how much you've been paying attention. And yes, Big Brother does exist, guys. I think you're aware of that. And if any of you from America are watching, well, yes, you're certainly aware of that. But guys, that's going to be yours as well by the end of the webinar. So now I just want to share some interesting things with you. And that is, it quite surprised me, but I'm curious if you knew this. Okay, so I wonder, how many millionaires do you think there are? So how many business owners do you think there are that are millionaires? Well, it's only 3.3%. You know, we work our backsides off, ladies and gentlemen. Quite frankly, I'm annoyed. 3.3% of small business owners are millionaires. And I don't pull these numbers out of my backside. I always do the research and find the facts. But, you know, that's a very, very low number. Who would have thought that? It just doesn't seem quite right when you put everything you have on the line and, you know, your house and your time and effort. And for only 3.3% of people to be millionaires, that's largely where some of my title came from my book. Now, secondly, this one will probably shock you as well, and that is 39% of Australian small businesses are profitable. Only 39% of them. So if there's 39% of Australian small businesses that are profitable, that means that pretty well, and pardon the maths here, I know I'm slightly out, all right, but 2 out of 3 businesses aren't profitable. Holy cow, ladies and gentlemen. Well, that's a pretty big issue. And here's another inconvenient truth. How many of those 2 out of 3? We know statistically that they're either breaking even or losing money, but we know statistically that that's happening. How many people that are in small business actually let you know that they're losing money? It's interesting, isn't it? Even friends, okay, they could be losing money and not telling you and living off credit cards or whatever. But that's the stats, Australian Bureau of Statistics. And here's the other one that blew me away. So 93% of business owners never reach $1 million in turnover. 93%. So only 7% of business owners will do $1 million in turnover or more. Now, these are 3 pretty shocking stats, but you know, you're all pretty well business owners on here, or you probably wouldn't have taken the time to listen to me. And so these stats apply to you, ladies and gentlemen. You've got to be asking yourself some questions. And that would be, well, why is it that some business owners are so much more successful than others? And I think that's a perfectly reasonable question. But before I start answering it, I just want to take time out for a second. And I just want to share something very important. Now, I learned this. This is another inconvenient truth that I learned. Who else out there has discovered that free advice generally is the most expensive advice you can ever get? I have a standing rule, and that is that if I want to know something about something, I go to the very best people that I can go to. So my rule is that they've got to be at least 5 times more successful than I am before I start to listen to them. Now, that doesn't mean that I am a pompous, beggar that thinks that I know everything and I'm rude to everybody. Actually, everyone has a story, and anyone that knows me knows that I want to know them, and I want to know what they're up to, and I want to know their thoughts. But do I agree with their thoughts? Chances are probably not. I'll actually get a second opinion of someone that actually has the track record and the qualifications there, and they are the best qualifications, not a piece of paper with some letters after it, but when people have been there and done it themselves, that is the best qualification. And they're the people that I listen to. And ever since I learned that lesson, man, you know what? I haven't made that many wrong turns. So I think it's only fair for me to just share with you quickly some of the things that I've done, my background, and then you can determine whether you should be listening to me. Now, here's where it starts. It all started, imagine I'm on a lounge and talking to my shrink, but when I was a kid, my parents got married 7 times. Can you imagine the revolving door? I mean, really, I just seriously got sick and tired of a new dad in the house. Now, I love my parents, and I swear to God, they're the most spectacular people. My father's not with me anymore, but Mum's still out there in Nambucca, and I love her, and she did the very best she could. But I left home at 14. It was a pretty crazy time. And I'm a straight C student. So, ladies and gentlemen, contrary to what you may think, I am not a gift of God. Although that's what Ian translates to. If you have a look in the dictionary, you decide. But quite honestly, I was a C grade student, so I haven't got some spectacular IQ that makes me special or anything like that. And another thing that's happened is that right through my life, people have told me that I can't do things. And nothing aggravates me more, ladies and gentlemen. But they told me that I wouldn't be able to get an apprenticeship because I didn't have good enough grades. And they told me that I wouldn't be able to work for myself because I hadn't done uni. And they told me that I wouldn't be able to get in the commandos because I'm not built like a brick shithouse. Well, how many people have got to tell you you can't do things before you start listening to them? Well, lucky I must be a bit thick because I didn't believe them. In fact, whenever anyone says I can't do something, it's like a red rag to a bull because I'm into it. Anyway, so what happened was I became an electrician. So I left home, did my apprenticeship on the railways, went into the army, and then came out and said, woohoo, I've got my trade papers, let me do something. So electrician it was. Why did I become an electrician? Well, quite honestly, guys, I actually thought that girls would like electricians a bit more than plumbers because plumbers have an interesting life in certain places. And I thought it'd be a bit cooler being an electrician, and that's why I chose it. Didn't work. There was a flaw to my strategy. But for 15 years, I struggled to get ahead. I worked my buttocks off. I'm not a lazy person. I put my head down and my backside up. But, this is pretty indicative of what I was facing every night when I wanted some food. And I had no money, no customers. I had no idea how to get any of that happening. It was largely luck that kept the wheels turning. And I was surviving on sort of $25,000, $30,000 a year. And it was a bit of a miracle just making a dollar stretch. Here's the mansion that I used to live in as a young whippersnapper. When I say young, pre-35, etc. So that's the mansion, all right? No, not the White House in the front, ladies and gentlemen, the chook shed at the back. See that little building there? And to make things even more interesting, I shared that little chook shed with 2 other people. So, wow, we had some fun times in there. All right, so that was in Binya Street in Pendle Hill many, many, many eons ago. It was great times, actually. And here's my incredible work vehicle that I was in. So I was doing my electrical contracting and running around in this vehicle, and I kid you not, it was running literally on 2 cylinders. The amount of smoke coming out of the back of this vehicle was criminal. I got pulled over 3 times by police. Now, to be honest, I never got booked once, and I think it's simply because they felt sorry for me, guys. They didn't have the heart to book me, but I tell you what, they said a few choice words. I won't repeat them because there might be youngsters on the line or whatever, but they said, get this heap of rubbish off the road. So that was the sort of thing. And I used to park this van about 4 or 5 doors down from any job that I was doing, because if I parked in front of someone's house or on their driveway, I'd leave Mount Gambier on the driveway, ladies and gentlemen. There'd be so much oil underneath there, it would be embarrassing and they would hate me. So I'd left it in front of somebody else's house. And people would ask me, like, I'm going to do a job, and they said, well, where's your van? I said, oh, my mate's just down the road. I just thought I'd pop in and see him, so I left the car there. But I'd be coming up with my toolboxes and my ladders and my cables, and I'd be sweating like crazy. Man, I tell you what, it makes me wonder today how I managed to do it. But that was how I operated back then, guys. I guess I'm painting the picture. Now, that went along, and my life kept on traveling like that until 2 things happened. The first one was I met this man, and many of you probably know who he is. He was my first business mentor. That was Mal Emery. And he taught me the power of sales and marketing. Okay, now, I'm here to say to you, in all the skills in business, I believe sales and marketing are the #1 skills that you should develop. But having said that, I'm going to go into this a bit later. There are other skills that are critical as well. But he started teaching me about sales and marketing, and I happened upon him. And at the same time, remember, how many times have my parents been married? 7. So do you think I wanted to be a bit wary before I said I do? Well, of course. So I was very particular, and I refused to marry someone unless I absolutely fell head over heels for them. And you know what? I met this lady here. Now, this lady, the love of my life, her name is Jenny. She was at a function and she stole some chocolates off my plate, believe it or not. And I'm very attached to chocolate. So when she raided my chocolates and took off with them, I had to chase her, and it was the best chase I've ever had. Now, she became my girlfriend. And I knew then and there that I found the one. I'd found the lady that I wanted to marry. So yahoo, that was a good thing. However, there was a slight problem. And that was that I thought, man, I want to marry this woman, but, if I asked myself to marry me, I would say no. That's how poor a catch I thought I was, rightly or wrongly. So at 35, I really had a serious conversation with myself. I said, dude, come on, what have you actually done with your life? It does pay to get rid of Skype when you're doing a seminar. But there you go. I've got you active. And the only reason I didn't disconnect it was simply because I am scared to disconnect this screen. Guys, but listen, here's the thing. I had this conversation and I decided to get very serious. This was me. Well, maybe not me, but it's a good indication. These were my thought processes. I said, man, there's no way that I'm not going to get this lady to marry me, but I don't have any money. I don't have any real future to myself at the moment, so I better make one. And you know what? That was the turning point for me. That was like a light going on. I got really serious about what I wanted to achieve, and I hooked in and started making things happen. And you know what? Once I faced that inconvenient truth, and the inconvenient truth, ladies and gentlemen, was, mate, what have you done with the last 35 years? Why haven't you got the sort of lifestyle that you could be proud of? And why can't you provide for someone, not even yourself? Well, they're pretty painful truths. But when I examined myself, it was just what the doctor ordered, because in just 3 years, I grew one of Australia's largest air conditioning companies. It was largely domestic and light commercial, but it was a ripper of a company, one of the fastest growing in Australia. However, when I thought I'd made it, what do they say? Just when I get out, they suck me back in. Isn't that what they do in The Godfather? Well, yeah, I lost it all, ladies and gentlemen. I'm on top of the world, and then I lost everything. I went out the back door, and there was massive theft in the company. Does that sound like an excuse? Poor me, somebody stole from me. Well, you know, the staff, I had 60-odd staff, and there was massive theft. But who let that theft happen, ladies and gentlemen? Was it them? Was it really them, or was it me giving them the opportunity to steal from me? That's a pretty hard truth to swallow, but I had to swallow it. So guys, look, I lost it all. Okay, it was pretty painful. That was one of the worst, but also one of the best things that ever happened to me, guys. I still get emotional today, and I keep an eye out and try to help many other people before they get into that situation as well. But man, how do you lose everything? Be a multi-millionaire one day and be absolutely broke the next? Well, what happened was it taught me a lot of very, very powerful skills, guys. I actually have X-ray vision these days when I go into business. You know, I thought I was pretty hot. I'm doing well over $1 million a month and buy anything, do anything, have anything. I was sending friends over to on holidays overseas and buying cars for friends and yada 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 yada. You know, I was on top of the world. Well, I soon woke up to myself, guys. I realised it was a very painful truth, but I realised that there was more than sales and marketing to growing a business. You might be able to shoot up there, but there are so many other things that you've got to know to have a successful company. You know, things like, do you have a decent customer relations system? What about your accountability processes? What about building the right team around you and having the key performance indicators to measure that your team are doing the right things? Now, these are all very important. I'm just scratching the surface. I can go on and on. But if you don't have all of the pieces of the puzzle, you will suffer a very sad experience just like me. And by the way, I've witnessed so many others that have a similar sob story. And I'm not here for you to feel sorry for me. As I said, it was one of the best things that could happen, because right now it's given me the ability to be able to help you guys and share truths with you. Okay, so everything happens for a reason. I just didn't seem like it at the time, guys. But now here's the thing. All right, so I lost my first large company. I committed to learning those principles and putting the jigsaw together. And in the next 10 years, I went and built 4 more multi-million-dollar companies. Now, that's great news, because it means that the first one wasn't a fluke, okay? Success is a mechanical process, guys, and that's what I want you to understand. If you do the right things and you follow the right formulas and take the right actions and do the same things that successful people do, there's a bloody good chance that you're going to get similar results to them. So these days, I own Street Smart Business School. I've helped many individuals have better business lives. I've created tens upon tens of millions of dollars for myself and my students, and I have a ball. I spend my time helping people. So, guys, that's me. I hope it's a good enough resume. I did just brush through it as quickly as I could, but I think it's important that you understand the person that you're seeking guidance or advice from. So now it's time to share some inconvenient truths with you. And this first one, this one here, really does come to the point of why most business owners don't become millionaires. And it really is because you make your own reality, and you may not realize it, but you do. You're going to probably get upset with me. Here's my first feather ruffling, okay? I'm going to aggravate a few of you right now, probably. Now, remember, don't drop off the call if I upset you. I've got an ethical bribe here, and you should be staying to the end. But here's what I'm going to say, and that is that just about everyone on this call nearly everyone, there's always a tiny exception, but nearly everyone on this call, you are exactly where you deserve to be in life right now. Because of the choices and the decisions that you've made, because of the actions that you've taken and the effort that you've put in, that's given you the results that you've gotten to date. Now, whether they're good results, whether they're bad results, that depends on you. It largely doesn't depend on anyone else. You see, success is, in all honesty, I mean, we're renowned for creating spectacular marketing systems and sales systems and systemizing companies and doing all these types of things. But, you know, most of your success, we might teach you these things, but it comes from internal processes, and you make those processes yourself. You make that reality. So you're living in a world right now and you think that it's real. Well, I'm here to tell you, and please don't start worrying about me. I really am. I do have a full set of marbles here, but your reality is actually a fantasy, okay? It is a world that you've created, whether you realize it or not, through those choices and those decisions. And guess what? You have the ability, if you don't like the world that you're in right now, well, you have the complete ability to change it. How do I know? Well, I've done it over and over and over again, okay? So your thought processes determine your future. If I can get you to understand this, then, man, I've done a great job. But you got to go, I've got to get through that external layer of carbonized crap that generally hangs around people's brains for them to understand this. You are where you are because you want to be there, largely. Now, let me show you what I mean. You might recognize this guy. So President Obama, now he's got some thoughts going through his head right now, ladies and gentlemen. He's thinking, oh, you know what? Michelle would love those sandals. I reckon that's what he's thinking, isn't he? Where could I get a pair? Maybe I'll ask her. So that's probably what he's thinking. Good deal. Maybe go to Zappos or something. And what about Bruce Willis? Now, he's thinking, my God, that dress looks spectacular on Emma. I'll have to ask Hallie where she got it from. Isn't that what you think he's thinking of? These are their thought processes, guys. Now, let me come to these two gentlemen here. Now, we're in a grocery store, and I think you can guess what's going through these two guys' minds. Now, I'm actually going to keep this very G-rated, so we won't be talking about the guy with the banana, but I am going to talk about the guy holding the coconuts. Now, he's thinking about this woman, and he's actually thinking, what a vision of loveliness. I would absolutely love to meet this lady and have a cup of coffee with her. Now, that thought's going through his head, but can you just imagine that some other thoughts are going through his head as well? Oh, wow. Why would she give me the time of day? What gives me the right to go up and say, hello, my name's Peter, and can I have your phone number? Can we have a cup of coffee? You know, well, you know, that's his choice to make. And these are the thoughts that are going through your mind. So many thoughts going through your mind in the blink of an eye, and you just got to understand what those thoughts are. Now, before I start expanding on this principle, I just want to talk to you ladies. Those of you that are a bit upset with me right now because of my guys holding their coconuts and looking at this beautiful lady, you do it too. You're just too clever and we don't catch you. All right, but we're a wake up. Don't you worry. Ian's on the case. Back to our friends over here. Now, this guy here, he's really agonizing. Should he go and talk to this girl? Well, hence lies the lesson, ladies and gentlemen. So what happens next determines his future. You know, will he or won't he? Now, we all understand it, especially guys, you know, going talking to a beautiful woman feels a bit like jumping off a bridge or jumping off a cliff, and, you know, something like this guy here, you go, oh, my God. But why is he so scared? Let's just really analyze this, can we? Why are you so petrified of going up, talking to a beautiful woman and saying, hello, would you like to have a cup of coffee? Is that really a crime? Of course it's not, okay? But if he doesn't take that chance and he doesn't ask for that cup of coffee, there are consequences. And why is he worried about doing it? And why is he agonizing over it? Well, he's worried about getting rejected. He's worried about a no. My goodness, what will happen if she says no? Will the world end? Will the sun stop shining? Well, of course not, guys, but many people build scenarios up thinking that it will. And, you know, if you don't actually ask, how will you ever know? Now, if he doesn't go and ask that lady the question about if she'd like a cup of coffee, he will never know if she was his perfect mate and they live happily ever after and have the time of their lives. And look, he may not be Brad Pitt, you know, he may not look like me, he might not have all these gifts that people find irresistible, but the bottom line is the odds aren't that bad. Would you say 1 in 10, 1 in 20, maybe 1 in 30, okay? But what I'm saying is if he then went and talked to 30 beautiful women, do you think one of them would sit down and have a cup of coffee with him? Well, I'm telling you, of course they would. All right, I probably wouldn't be 30. It'd probably be 5 or 6. All right, well, now, I hope you're getting me here. Are you with me? You're understanding the principle that I'm sharing? Okay, because business is exactly the same. People have the same choices. He had a choice whether he should talk to that lady and ask for a phone number or not. You have similar decisions that you make every day in your businesses. And the choices that you make determine where you end up. Now, I love this quote. This is from Donald Trump. Guys, you got to hand it to Donald. I mean, I'm giving him a virtual round of applause. What other president can manipulate the market and the media to such an extent? I mean, you got to give him the Emmy for that. What do they call him? The Golden Globe or whatever. But he says you have to think anyway, so why not think big? And I'm saying the same thing to you. I'm going to give you a real life example of how I apply that in many things that I do. So I'm going to tell you how I won my first major contract with Australia's largest builder. One of them, anyway. It was one of Australia's largest builders. And you see, the way I went was, this is when I was just starting to understand the power of sales and marketing and communication. And so I'm a young whippersnapper wanting to make my way. And yes, Jenny had said yes to me at the time, so I wanted to provide for my family. And I heard about this tender, or not so much a tender, but an opportunity that a builder was looking for an air conditioning company to do work for them and to do all of their air conditioning. I thought, what a great idea. Now, if you knew me at the time, this was the extent of my company. I had a pretty broken down high ace, and I had a 13-year-old apprentice that I had to get a letter from his mother saying that he's allowed to work for me, and I had to get a release form from the school saying that the guy just was not doing any good at school, and anyone that could take them off his hands would be doing the world a favour. So that was my apprentice, and I was out there ready for action, armed with my trades license, and I had my high ace. So I went down to this place, and I won't mention the name of the builder, but essentially I went down there. Well, yes, I will. Why not? I've got nothing to hide. It was Masterton Homes. And so when I went down there, there were all of these big wigs, guys. I mean, we're talking about the top representatives from Daikin and Fujitsu and Mitsubishi. I could go on. There's like 6 of them. And they're all dressed up in their nice suits and they're going in one by one. So Masterton had this big, massive office table, probably cost $30,000 or $40,000, and all the executives are sitting around this massive boardroom table, and they're quizzing these people as they're going in. And so one would go in with a big smile and come out looking glum, and another one would go in with a big smile and come out looking glum. Anyway, they left me till last because I made such an impression. They probably wanted to hear the best and save it till last. So I walk in there, and guys, I didn't have enough money for a suit. Forget that. I had my Marsh air conditioning T-shirt on and my jeans and my sand shoes. That was me. But I went in there and I saw all of them, and I quite honestly said, holy cow. I did feel like that guy jumping off the bridge doing a bungee jump, trust me. But I went in there, I looked them in the eye, and so they said, hello, who are you? And I told them, and I asked them some questions instead of them asking me. I'm saying, now I'm guessing, I've just seen some of the biggest air conditioning companies just walk out the door. And I'm guessing that they've been in here telling you how wonderful their air conditioners are and how quiet they are and the energy efficiency and all those sorts of things. Am I correct there? Is that the sort of things they were talking about and why you should use them? But yes, you are correct. That's largely what they're talking about. I said, well, look, I get that. My name's Ian Marsh, and I'm a tradesman. I'm on the ground on the coal front, and I see everything that goes on a work site. I know the ramifications if a house isn't completed and it's not roughed in and you don't have your air conditioning ducts in time, the delays that it can cause and the costs that it can make, and how it throws things into chaos. I also know the ramifications of the margins on your business, and that they're not huge, and that you could probably like some more profit in your houses when they're finished. And finally, I also know that if an air conditioning doesn't work well, rather than blame the air conditioning company that put it in, because they probably wouldn't even know who they were, they'd look back at you and say, well, that was Masterton Homes. They did a crappy air conditioning job. We hate Masterton. They tell all their friends. So this is what I'm saying to these executives around the table. And they're all just looking at me. Who is this guy? I said, well, look, all I can do is give you my solemn promise. I will never let you down. You will never have a gyprock that's waiting on me, because we'll always have the ducts roughed into the house. I don't care if it's midnight and you need me for a task or something to be done. I will be there. I don't care if it's Christmas. The person that you are looking at is the person that is most committed to helping you be the most successful when it comes to your air conditioning part of your organisation, and you will never, ever have a hiccup from me. So who do you think won the work, mate? Do you think it was these big wigs telling you how wonderful they were and how technology advanced they are? Or was it the person that actually cared about the client and thought about the problems that they had and just said, yeah, dude, I'll help you. That's what I'm here for. That's my job. Now, to date, I'm still the only air conditioning company in existence that's ever managed to charge full retail to a project home builder for the work. Why is that? Well, because I took control of the sales processes and the installation processes from woe to go, and they made 20% on my full retail price. So they were happy because I don't know if you know it, but a project home, by the time you get a large house done, they're lucky to make 5% net on that house. So that means that they're lucky to make $5,000 to $10,000 on a project home by the time everything's paid for. So if I've added $2,000 more to that house as a profit, I'm their best friend, ladies and gentlemen, and that's exactly what I did, and that's why they loved me. So here's the question. I went in there and I went into the lion's den and I faced them, and that's largely why I'm here talking to you today. Who do you think you are? Do you think that you are worthy of that sort of work? Remember what I had to work with. I had a high ace, I had a 13-year-old apprentice, and I had a lot of ambition. So I made a choice to be successful. I knew I was going to be successful. I acted successful, and I did what it took to be successful. Did I do my backside off when I won that contract? Hell yeah. And by the way, this is the very first time I've revealed that story to anyone in the world. This is a world first, the news flash, Donald Trump. What should I do to maximize my exposure here? But guys, who do you think you are? Okay. I'm hoping you're getting the point. Are you with me on this? Because this is so important. This is why most business owners don't become millionaires, okay? And I mean this from the bottom of my heart. There are thought processes going on in many people's minds that deep down, they don't think that they're worthy of that success. I see it time after time. So what limiting belief systems have you created that hold you back? I want you to use that pen and paper. I hope you've been writing, and there's a lot of writings in what I've just shared with you, but what limiting belief systems that have you created? You're in the privacy of your home. You can talk to yourself. It's an inconvenient question, but don't you think the benefit of you asking it will be pretty massive? Okay. All right. So let's move on to inconvenient truth number 2. And this is the magic formula that I always use when I'm looking at a business opportunity. I never fail to implement this strategy. And by the way, just about every millionaire, multimillionaire, billionaire that I know uses a very similar formula to make a decision. And guess what? It's simple. Okay, so here it is. Before I look at any opportunity at all, the first thing I do is I weigh up the maths. Now, what I mean by the maths is there good margin in what I'm doing? You know, have I got good profit levels in this? And, you know, try and operate on 10, 20, 30%. It's a tough gig, guys. Where have you got the money for the marketing? Where have you got the money for the gifts? You know, it's pretty crazy. So I want to have good profits in my businesses. If I'm selling something, I want to know that there's margin there. Okay, so I can look after the clients the way they need to be looked after. And if they don't have margin, well, then we've got to do something about it. Then if I know that there's margin, I've got to then look at the psychology of the market. And so that means making sure that there's lots of people out there that want what I have. All right. So with air conditioning, was there a hungry crowd? Well, I got into that market at a very interesting time. And yes, there was a hungry crowd where I was. I might explain that again in a little bit, but I don't want to ruin the formula. So essentially, first thing, make sure there's good profits in whatever you sell. Second, make sure there's lots of people out there that want what you have. A lot of people go into business. They just say, oh, you know what? I'm actually going to sell mousetraps, without ever working out if the world wants another mousetrap. Okay, so make sure there's a hungry crowd out there. And then I want you to look at the lifestyle. What is the lifestyle that you'll have if you actually take on this venture? Because there's thousands of opportunities out there, guys. So you should make sure that it fits your criteria. So added to that, is it a sunrise business? Now, sunrise, let's just look at a few sunrise businesses. And this means businesses that have got plenty of growth happening. So let's look at Australia. We've got an aging population here, guys. I mean, that's the reason, part of the reason why we've got a big tax issue and the government's not getting enough money. We haven't got enough workers. So If we're getting older, where do they go? Well, they go to retirement homes. If they go to retirement homes, well, we've got enough retirement homes. And do they need a lot of aged care? And guys, these days, when people retire in the old days, you know, they'd work to bloody 55 and they'd sit in a rocking chair, they're 65 and they kick the bucket. Well, these days, well, I tell you what, we're going to probably kick on to 100 or past 100 if you believe Dr. John Tickell, and I do. So, you know, we've got a long way to go. So these people need to be looked after. So health, things looking after that age demographic, you know, vehicles, RVs. I'm sounding like an American now, heaven help me. You know, the Winnebagos and things like that, become a grey nomad. If you started looking after that market, do you think you got a hungry crowd? Well, there's a good chance you do, okay? Now, so you look at a sunrise opportunity, but then you take away a sunset opportunity. So, you know, the sunset opportunity, let me ask you a couple of questions here. Does the world really want another smartphone? I mean, how many bloody iPhones are there? I don't think so. Now, I could be wrong, and I haven't done enough research. Don't take my word at this, but it could be a bit of a saturated market. It could have reached its peak, okay? So is it a sunset business? We know videos, okay, they're gone by the wayside, and CDs, they're gone by the wayside, they're sunsets. And here's another one for you. Now, if you're in the transport industry, okay, now you all know, I'm sure you've all heard that Google's got this car and they're driverless cars and they're cruising around California and they don't need a driver. Well, they've got a couple of hiccups at the moment, but if they've got cars that are cruising around without someone driving them right now, do you think it'd only be a matter of years before they've sorted their stuff out? And then people say, well, and this is the big wigs, the big guns that make the world turn around. Do you think that they're actually going to keep paying drivers to drive their trucks? And do you think we'll need taxi drivers in the future? Well, no. And when you move forward on that and you say, well, geez, if we've got driverless cars and they've got sensors, do you think we're going to have accidents? Will there be any idiots that are doing 140 kilometres an hour down the highway? Well, chances no, because they're all driverless cars. That means there's not going to be any accidents, which means we don't need any smash repairs, which means yada, 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 yada. Do you see where I'm coming from here? It's not that hard to look into the future. So that's the formula, guys. That's the magic formula. I'm going to show you how very successful people apply it now. So most people have never been taught that formula or anything remotely looking like it, and they just get into business. They see an opportunity. So many people I see that I help, they paid way over the odds for their business, and they got no idea why they got it. They just sort of bought it on emotion. So 90% of people have never been taught this. Okay, so you're in the top 10%. So here's what happens with most business owners is they end up getting into a jalopy. So this is your business vehicle. This is the thing that's meant to be making you your money and creating your lifestyle and getting you your nice home and your cars and your private schools and whatever you want to do. You might want to bloom and save a village in Ethiopia or whatever you want to do with your money. But this is the vehicle that gets you there. And this whole thing will maybe get to the finishing line if you're lucky, but it's going to break down a few times. And finally, maybe just chug over the line, okay? Now, that's where a lot of business owners end up because they haven't been taught the formula. A smarter way, the way that the 10% operate, is they know the formula and they want to find the best racing car they can to get them from point A to point B in the shortest possible time. That means things with the best margin. That means things that have massive market demand. That means getting those right opportunities in a sunrise business, and then they're off to the races. You know, and if they know that formula, it doesn't make it too hard to make a decision. So I just go on that note for a second with businesses. I know a lot of business owners out there. Well, they think they're business owners, but they've got businesses and they're selling things on the internet, and they're flat out making 10% on what they're selling. So, you know, they're buying it for $100, they're selling it for, you know, 110, and they think they're killing it. Say, oh yeah, I'm doing $1 million in sales a year. Well, guys, if they're only making 10% and they're doing $1 million, that means they're only making $100,000 for themselves, and they've got to pay for electricity, they've got to pay for dispatch, they've got to pay for wages. So they're not doing that flash. A far better question that they should be asking, or you should be asking now that I'm telling you, is, I wonder what sort of profit you're making, okay? I'm curious, what's your net? Because that's what I'm interested in when I talk with anyone. So your turnover's your ego, your net's the real story, guys. So successful people simply know something and do something you don't know or do. That's really the long and the short of it. If no one's ever told you these formulas or these secrets, how the hell would you know? Okay, I didn't know until I started to investigate. So Trump, he grew up and he was indoctrinated, knowing how to make a deal, knowing how to get the best price, knowing how to manage staff, knowing what the margins are. Okay, he got taught by his dad, and his dad gave him a small fortune. He turned to a big one. That's a pretty rare thing, actually. And look at James. Now, Kerry was a tough man. Actually, I love Kerry. He's one of my heroes. But Kerry was a tough man. Those of you that know of him, there's a lot of people that probably aren't Australian on this call. But, Kerry actually hired a guy called Al Dunlap. Now, he's referred to as Chainsaw because of his ability to slash overheads in any business. And he mentored Kerry. Okay, and what happened was he taught Kerry all of the successes, all the formulas that he knew to make businesses successful. Now, I'm going to now apply the formula to James here, because you're going to realise that these people understand this formula that I've shared with you. So Kerry dies, and man, what a tough old bastard. I've got to hand it to him. He held on. He was dying. He refused to die until James was by his bedside. He hung on and hung on and hung on and says, I ain't leaving until I'm good and ready. And then James turns up by his bedside. He probably says, you bastard, and he keeled over. I don't know, but talk about willpower. So then James inherited the fortune. And I think at the time, Kerry Packer was the richest man in Australia. Could be wrong, but I think so. And he owned Channel 9 and a lot of media, etc. And so James took this massive inheritance. And what does he do? Well, he gets rid of it all. Why would he get rid of it all? Holy hell. Channel 9, a license to print money. Well, he was looking into the future as well, just like I said to you about sunset businesses. He could see, and this is many, many years ago now, but he could see the future of the internet. And he could work out how that would splinter into many, many different directions, and he wouldn't be able to have a captive audience that he could charge advertisers a fortune to advertise to. And so he thought, you know what? I'll get myself out of here while there's still a bit of blue sky and I get a good price, and I'll go and do a sunrise business. And so he went into gambling, ladies and gentlemen. Now, you know what happens, especially in hard times with gambling. Those businesses run well. It doesn't matter about the morals of it all. So that's how he used the formula. Does that make sense? I hope so. And finally, you got the Murdochs. Okay, so again, I hope you're getting these principles. The reason that they are where they are, it is not because God came down on a cloud and knighted them worthy of making a fortune. It is simply because they have success principles. They know the formulas. They know the things to do, and you don't know them yet. Okay. But you can learn them because everything's learnable, okay? Now, I want to tell you about a guy that I met, pretty amazing guy. This will really drive the message home, ladies and gentlemen. You see, this happened, this true story, about 6 months ago. I was flying into Melbourne. I was going to be training about 40 students in Melbourne. And so I hopped into this taxi at the airport at Melbourne and said, okay, take me to, I think it was the Sofitel. Anyway, so I said, take me to the hotel. And so off we go on our way. And this guy's got the biggest smile on his face. He was an Indian, and he just looked so happy. And I said to him, mate, you seem so happy. Did something great happen today? He says, oh, I just love what I do. I said, really? You love driving a taxi? He says, yes, I do. I said, well, look, I used to own a taxi. I sold my taxi many years ago, but I'm really interested. What's life like these days? And he goes, oh, it's wonderful. This is a wonderful life. I work for myself. This is a great business. I said, really? How much money do you make a day? And when you're working? He says, oh, I make about $100 a day, sometimes 120. So how many hours is that you get for that money? He says 12 hours. I start at 3 in the morning and finish in 3 in the afternoon. Really? Mate, what's your name? I'm really curious because this is really interesting. You just love working that much? He says, yeah, I do. My name's Raj. I say, oh, pleased to meet you. My name's Ian. And we start talking away, and I say, so Raj, man, for you to be working that many hours, how many days a week do you do? 5 days a week, do you? And he goes, no, 6 days a week. I go, really? 6 12, so 70 hours, 72 hours. You're kidding me. He goes, no. So, I don't have any hassles, and I see interesting things. It's great. And also, I work on a Sunday. I say, are you kidding me? Yeah, I work on a Sunday. I clean an office building on a Sunday, get $150 for that. Man, really? So you make about $750 a week, and you're working 80 hours a week to make that happen. You must be saving for something, eh? He says, I am. I'm saving for an apartment because I want a home for my family. I said, well done. So how's the saving going, Raj? He says, oh, good. I've nearly got $35,000 now. I said, mate, I take my hat off to you. I really congratulate you. You've got the right work ethic, and I'm sure you're going to get there. Now, when I got out of the car, I gave them a big tip, and as I usually do if they're good cabbies, because I have a soft spot for them. I know how hard they work, ladies and gentlemen. But what I wanted to do is drive home a point to you. Now, was I tempted to share with Raj that what he makes in a week, I sort of make in an hour? Well, no, because he was happy. Okay, that was his life. I could tell he just absolutely loved what he was doing. And guys, that's what we're here for. We're here to enjoy life. And he's got his life worked out, mapped out. I wasn't about to disintegrate it or shatter it or depress him. So I didn't tell him about other opportunities that were out there. But I'm telling you because you're on this call and you're aware of these things. So this is a jalopy, ladies and gentlemen. Now, again, because of technology and because of Uber, etc. When I had my taxi, I sold my taxi for about $250,000 quite a while ago. Now, they went up to $500,000 a taxi plate in Australia. In New York, they're $1 million for a medallion, or they were about 2 years ago. But now you cannot give one of these plates away for $200,000. No one will take them, okay? So because they see the writing on the wall. So do you get the idea of a business vehicle? I don't think I could have given you a better example of something slowing you down. So if you are not where you want to be financially yet, have a look at your business vehicle and have a look at the formula that's shared with you. And you might find some observations there. So guys, it's time for you to face another inconvenient experience. You got to do the ugly baby test. You got to have a look at your business and you got to say, well, does it stack up? Is this really a model that's going to get me to achieve the things I want to achieve, or should I be looking at something different? Now, that takes a lot of research and a lot of thought before you take that decision. But the thing is, put an action in place. So I've got an inconvenient question for you guys. Do you have an ugly baby? And if so, what are you going to do about it? And this is the point. If I've exposed something that's inconvenient, something that's holding you back from being where you want to be, it's one thing to expose it. But what do most people do when they expose something? Well, they lock it in a vault somewhere. Oh, yeah, I'll get to that one day, someday. I'll get to it. I'll get round to it. Well, I'll tell you now, they don't get round to it. It gets locked away. The problem never gets addressed. And you know what? People don't move forward. I believe that you got these decisions to make because that's part of our growing process, okay? And they're happening on purpose. So if you got an ugly baby, I want you to say to yourself, man, I'm going to examine this and see what I can do to at least give it a facelift, find a good plastic surgeon or something, okay? So now here's another inconvenient truth for you guys. Now, this is the most powerful yet most underutilized marketing strategy in existence. And I am going to pre-warn you, I'm going to do something very daring. I'm actually going to minimize this screen. I'm going to hit my Excel. I'm going to hope that I don't lose you with this new technology. Is that the sound of confidence there? Bear with me for a second, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to bring something up. Now just stay with me. I will come back to you. I'm just bringing up this wonderful piece of information that's going to make your life so spectacular. Give me 30 seconds, ladies and gentlemen, and I shall return. Okay. Now, if I go here, I won't hit that button. Gosh, I nearly hit the stop broadcast button, guys. I came within a millimeter of it. That wouldn't have been a pretty sight. Are you enjoying what I'm sharing with you? Hey, put something in the chat box. Let me know that you exist out there and I'm doing a good job. I hope you're having a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying sharing these principles with you. Okay, so what I'm going to share with you now is something that's so powerful and yet so few businesses put it in place that amazes me. It's the power of a strong, effective referral program in your business. Now, I'm going to give you an example of the impact that will happen in an organization if you develop one, if you put any time into it and you get serious about it. We are renowned for our referral programs. Many of our referral programs, clients get 4, 5, and 6 referrals from a client. Now, what impact would that have on your business if that was happening? Well, let's just see here. Let's just play it out. Let's just imagine, say you're a furniture company, okay, and you're getting these lines down here in this column here. This is your month. So 1 month to 15 months, all right? And here is the number of leads you get in a month. And we're just starting out, let's say, and we got 4 referrals because people say, Ian's such a wonderful guy in furniture and he'll do right by you. Now, if you've got a referral, they're a better client. They're a better customer because someone else said you got to use this guy, so they're already predisposed to buy from you unless you give them a bloody good reason not to. So let's just say that your conversion rate is 50% on the referrals, okay? That's quite reasonable. And when you have a referral, just imagine that you've got a street smart referral strategy and that generates you 3 referrals for every client that you have, okay? Can that be done? Well, yes, it can many times. And let's just say that when you make a sale in the furniture store, the average sale works out to be $1,500. Okay. So if that's happening in month one, when we start our furniture store, we got $3,000 in sales because we had 4 leads, 50% conversion gave us 2 sales, and each sale was $1,500. So 2 times 1,500 equals 3,000. Now, in our second month of operation, what happens is that we've now got 6 leads because of the referrals. So each person gave us 3 referrals. Those 6 leads converted 50%, which means you've now got 3 sales, and that's $1,500 a sale. 3 sales, they each give us 3 leads, and now you got 9 referrals. And now cumulatively, okay, in the second month, you made $7,500. Does that make sense, guys? Well, let's move now. Let's just move to month 9. So by month 9, following this same strategy, this is just maths, so maths can't lie. You've now got 102 leads coming in. These are referral leads coming in. They're converting at 50%. You've now got 51 sales happening in your business, okay? And those 51 sales are generating 153 referrals for you, and you're going to make $76,000 that month just in referral income. So cumulatively, you've made $224,660. Ladies and gentlemen, are you getting excited yet? I hope you are. I'm excited sharing this with you. Now, the numbers just go crazy. And look, full disclosure, as a business grows quickly, and I'm living proof of that, you've got challenges because you'll have problems with premises, and you have problems with adding extra staff and cash flow and capacity and all these sorts of things that happen when you have massive growth. But isn't it a good problem to have? And couldn't you control the growth if you wanted to? So that's what happens with your referrals. So I've got an inconvenient question for you again. I'll get to it as soon as I get my PowerPoint back up. I do hope that came up clearly for you. Tom, if you're listening, shoot me a text and tell me that this is all still coming through crystal clear. It's all making sense and I'm doing a spectacular job. Can you do that for me? I would appreciate it. And I'm going to go back to my main slide. So, all right, guys. This is the underutilized marketing strategy I told you about. Did it make an impact? Do you realize that you can probably have a very powerful $1 million referral program in your business, but have you put any time into thinking about one? Imagine what would happen if it was in your business, if your customers were your best salespeople. Wouldn't you have a better sort of business and better quality clients coming into your organization? So here's your question. Do you have a $1 million referral program? And if not, what are you going to do about it? Okay. So again, we want to make sure that we face these things and do something about it. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't got a referral program in your company, there's not a case pretty much that you don't develop one. Okay. And we're here to help, by the way. Now, look, when do you want to be more successful? I think it makes more sense to be successful now rather than later, don't you? So I want you to be more successful now. But how do you become more successful now, guys? Well, simply decide. Just like that person in that grocery store, he had to decide, would he go up and ask that lady for her phone number? Well, you got to decide you want to be successful. You got to decide that you want certain results, and you got to know what those results are that you want. Now, here's a case study. Now, this gentleman. He's a real, I swear to God, I meet some fantastic people in this business. His name's Danny Halupka, and with his wife, Alison, they've actually become very, very good personal friends of mine. And I'm just going to share a little bit about his experience and what's happened with him since he faced these inconvenient truths. They're quite interesting because many times I've got to have a fairly firm conversation with people, and sometimes, I'm telling you straight up, it does end in tears. But here's the long and the short of it. Some of the people that I have sadly made cry, I've done it because I really want to help these people succeed. They haven't given up and they've moved forward. And you know what? Today, those people are millionaires and multimillionaires. And that's just public documented proof. I can easily show it to anyone if they really need to know. But if I had kept my mouth shut, I kid you not, they would have been going along the same path that they'd gone along for years. So here's Danny. Now, he's in South Australia, ladies and gentlemen. We had the conversation. I had the conversation with his wife, Ali, and helped them face their inconvenient truths. Now, these guys, they're the soul of the earth. They're the most wonderful country folk you would ever meet, and they've got the biggest heart of gold. You should see their family and just their values. They should be writing a book, How to Raise an Incredible Family. Now, We showed them how to implement the right systems. Up until they became street smart, they hadn't taken a break for 25 years. So when they started implementing the right systems and started becoming street smart and started rectifying their inconvenient truths, their business started to grow. So now, okay, their business is growing well over 500%. They get to have breaks all the time. The business keeps running without them. Every time I seem to ring them, they're at a show or doing something, but they're spectacular people. So I'm just going to play this. I hope it comes through. And again, Tom, get ready. Tell me if the video and the audio doesn't come through that well, and I'll stop it. But essentially, Danny can tell you better than I ever could.
G'day, I'm Danny Hillicky from Branch Sheds in South Australia. Along with my wife Alison, we've been high-paying clients of Street Smart Marketing for over 7 years now, and what a ride it's been. We just had 2 record months of sales in a row, and as a result, we've had to increase our production staff by over 100%, and on top of that, we had to increase installation crews by more than 200%. We also put more staff on in the office to do some of the work I used to do, so that I can work on the business rather than in the business like I used to do for the last 25 years. We had the same turnover in 1 month as we used to do in a whole year. Life is so much brighter and better now, knowing what I know now.
So seriously, who would like to have that sort of impact in their business, guys? What would life be like? Well, we've already heard you, Danny. Thank you for sharing. Okay, but it's time to move on. So imagine if you had your business and you committed, you decided, they had to make a decision, and it took them a year, ladies and gentlemen. This is why I had them face the inconvenient truth. After a year of being in our environment, I hadn't seen them implement. And so I had a conversation with them, and I really drew a line in the sand. I don't want to take people's money if they're not going to get the benefit out of it. That's not how I operate. And I care about these people. And so we had the conversation. They actually walked out the door. They were going to quit. But they saw my USP saying achieving financial and lifestyle freedom for serious business owners in 3 to 5 years or less. And so Ali quite wisely chucked to you and said, Danny, we haven't given it a fair shot. And she came back in. From that moment on, the two of them determined to become masters of business, and their business is just growing and growing and growing and growing. Guys, it's just amazing. And they do a spectacular job. Quite seriously, the best sheds you've ever seen. Okay, so one other example of, oh no, look, I won't go there. I just really want you to think about it, that it is possible. Now, it took them a year of struggling but seeing other people succeed in our environment for them to actually face their inconvenient truths and take action. So what would you be like in your life if you had a business that ran under management and if you had the sort of income that you desired? Okay, so these are the sort of things that you do with the money. So instead of thinking about a client that I had quite a while ago saying, look, I've got to go on camping trips with my kids because I just can't afford to take them on holidays. I'd love to go overseas, I just can't do it. Well, you know, we changed that reality for her. And now she does get to go on overseas trips, and she does get to have the life that she wants because she committed to it, and she worked out that she had every right to go on those trips and have those treats for herself as anyone else. So could you leave your business for 6 weeks and come back and still have it running nicely? Wouldn't it be great if your business was like that? So if you'd like your business to be like that, what's your plan to make it happen, ladies and gentlemen? So tonight, it's not about you hearing more and more information and nodding politely and saying, oh, that was nice. He was an interesting character. Glad I listened to that. No, this is why when you have a pen and paper, write down what are your inconvenient truths? What are the things that you are recognizing that you might need to look at? And then what is the action plan that you're going to take to rectify it? That's how you move ahead, ladies and gentlemen. And if you get into that habit, that's just a success habit. Successful people always confront their challenges. They don't pretend that they don't exist. Now, in the past hour, I guess I'm going for an hour. Just have a look at the time. I've just been having so much fun. Holy heck, isn't that amazing? 8:04. Man, that was good. So the past hour, please let me know. Do you agree that it's been time well spent? Have you learned quite a bit? I will be checking the chat, and I will be seeing the feedback that you're getting, but I want to make sure that I get these points across. Now, I can't cover everything in an hour, obviously, but hopefully I've made my point that if you apply certain principles and thought processes, you can get a totally different outcome, and it's totally up to you as to what sort of outcome you want to have. Now, Do you think what I've shared with you was educational? What would happen if I spent a day in your business? Do you think they would have some pretty amazing benefits for you if I went through and we analysed and came up with solutions to challenges that you were facing? Would that be a good thing? Who'd like that? Well, I can't actually come to everybody's business personally and see. I just don't have enough hours in the day. However, I've been doing some serious thinking, guys, and brainstorming. I can't come to you, but what if you came to me? What if I set it up so that you can come to me and learn from me for a day? Would it be okay if I share with you what I've got planned? I do hope so. I hope you're going to love what I've put together, because I think I've just nailed it here. So essentially, what I've done is I've put on a workshop. It's an implementation workshop. I'm going to be working through these principles that we share in the book. And when you get the book, you will love it. But this Inconvenient workshop is going to be a first of its kind. You haven't experienced anything like this ever. It's going to be held in Adelaide on Thursday, the 11th, of February. So it's only in a week's time, guys, at the Hilton Hotel, starting at 8:30. And if I've ticked a few boxes here, guys, I really would love to see you at this workshop. Now, I'm going to tell you a lot more about it now. You see, I had two choices. When I was looking at putting this workshop on, I was thinking, well, should I charge $2,000? That was my initial thought. Because, again, those of you that know me, I did 2 events last year, filled up 2 rooms, roughly about 80 to 100 people in each one. And that was the entry point, around about that $2,000 mark. So, I could easily do that. But more importantly, I want to make an impact with this book. And quite seriously, I keep hearing over here on the East Coast how challenging it is in Adelaide and how businesses have got a few things to overcome. Well, again, if you face the inconvenient truth, many of you will realise that your business is not really just Adelaide. It can be worldwide. You can have your market anywhere that you want if you have the knowledge to do it. And I want to share these truths with you. So the second thing that I was playing around with was, well, what if I did it for free? Would that be a benefit? And the people just cover the cost of putting the workshop on. Okay, interesting. So they're the 2 choices that I had. Now, I'll tell you what conclusion I came to, but I will also tell you, before I did that, I'll tell you about another friend of mine. Now, I'm not going to play his video. His name is Oris. And by the way, full disclosure again, he hates me. What you're going to hear on this video is simply that he came into our environment. He thought he was doing okay. He wasn't doing okay when we looked at everything. And we put systems and processes in place. Now, the reason he says he hates me is because he's got so much work now, he cannot keep up. His Bayside limousine is now one of the leading limousine companies in Australia. He's absolutely blown the competition away. And his problem was he just wasn't getting enough hours. So that's why he said, Ian, I love you, but I hate you, because he could hardly keep his eyes open. Is that a good problem to have? Now, the other side of this story, we set to work on putting systems in place in his business. When we learned what was happening to him, we got those systems happening. And yes, for those of you that are worried about poor Oris, he's now getting a good night's sleep. But his business has grown hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of %. And he can't wipe the smile off his face. So that's Oris and Bayside Limousines. If you ever need a limousine, shout out, just look at Bayside. They will never let you down. They will never be late. And he's got some of the best service you'll ever have. Okay. Now, the workshop. All right, let me come back to it. It's called Workshop for a reason, ladies and gentlemen, and that's because we'll be doing work. This will be serious, guys. When you walk in the room, I've got a mission that I'm going to accomplish with all of you. And that means that there is not going to be anybody pitching you and trying to sell you all weird and wonderful products. I will not try to sell you anything. You have my word of honor on that. There will be no other speakers. It's just me and my team looking at what you're doing, exposing you to the inconvenient truth and giving you real actionable steps to take to eliminate them. So when you walk out of this workshop, this is not just us talking. This is, I want you bringing all of your laptops in. I want you bringing your numbers in. I want you bringing your marketing, your ads. We're going to dissect the thing. And when you walk out that door at the end of the day, it's going to be a different world that you're going to be walking out from. I promise you that. Okay, so I think you got an idea. The whole purpose of this is I want to see the people that are smart enough to attend this workshop just achieved massive success in their businesses, guys. So what would happen to your business? Just think about this. If you had the right thought processes happening in your mind, instead of having all of those negative thoughts happening, we gave you some simple exercises to make sure that you start to eliminate those self-limiting beliefs. And everybody has them, guys. I'll be honest with you. I got a few challenges about thinking about becoming a billionaire, okay? So everyone has limiting beliefs, okay? Quite honestly, I actually don't want to be a billionaire. I'm very happy where I am. But everyone has limiting beliefs. Well, we're going to show you how to expose them and eliminate them. Because, again, your success, if you don't think you can be successful, I can't help you, Russell can't help you, Alex Mendosian can't help you, you're the one that can help you. We can give you all the tools and the knowledge to apply, but you've got to decide to be successful yourself. And what will happen if you had an effective, affordable, reliable lead generation system in your business so you can turn leads on and off? What effect would that have on your organization? Be pretty good? Okay, well, do you have one now? What would happen if you had a fantastic, reliable, predictable conversion system that increased the rate of conversion that you have in your business right now? You get more sales happening. Well, again, it's got to be pretty good. It's got to have a pretty massive impact on your business. And just about every organization, there are a few exceptions, but nearly any organization out there should have $1 million referral system. So imagine if you had a good referral system where your clients are selling for you. How good would that be? My mission is to optimize you. My mission is to show you just what you can do with your organization and to approach it from the right perspective, no emotion, just pure analytical thought, and find at least $50,000 in hidden profits. This is guaranteed in your business. Now, if by the end of the day we don't find you $50,000, I tell you, I'll pay you double your money back. But there's no way that we're not going to find it. There's not a business I've ever worked with, as long as you are a viable business. Now, I need to say that if you just started up yesterday and you're not really sure what you're trying to accomplish and you're struggling to make $50,000 or $60,000, no, I would struggle to find you $50,000. But if you've got a viable business and you've got reasonable maths and psychology, guys, it's a walk in the park. In fact, many times it's a couple of $100,000 at least that I find for clients. And that's what we're going to be doing with you when you come to the workshop. Now, if you're not sure, just have a look at another local in South Australia. So this is Shane Foran. He's the state franchise owner for Jim's Mowing. So he doesn't just own a franchise. He actually is responsible for South Australia for the franchises being sold there. Now, I had him face an inconvenient truth, and trust me, he was squirming. I won't reveal to you what it was. I haven't got permission to do that. But he faced it, and you know what? 30 days later, he came back with the result, 400% increase in sales. 400%. Now, guys, I want you to understand the impact of that. Imagine your business if you had a 400% increase in sales within a month. I don't think anyone would be objecting to that, would they? So that's Shane Foran. And the reality is I find these golden gems left, right, and center everywhere I look. And because you're there busy thinking all the time and trying to solve problems all the time, you don't get the time to even draw a breath many times, so you don't get to think strategically. Here's another one. Now, this gentleman here is James Gardner. Now, I helped him a couple of years ago, but I came across him, and when I actually had a conversation with him, the timing couldn't have been perfect or more imperfect, because I do have a bit of a soft touch sometimes. You see, this guy, James, he's had a family property, been in the family in Western Australia for generations, and he'd been trusted with it as the head of the household, and he had some severe health problems in the sheep farm with the dip that he was putting the sheep in. And what happened was he bought a clothing store, an R.M. Williams store it was selling R.M. Williams in the middle of Perth, the centre of Perth. And the guy had 19 months of straight losses in his business, and many times pretty well around $30,000. So, guys, do the math. That's like $600,000. Now, the way he was paying for it was he was drawing down on the family property continuously. Every month, I don't have enough money, I'll draw down. Until finally the bank came to him, and this is when I saw him. The bank came and said, you got 7 days, we're closing you down and liquidating. That was when I saw James. Now, when I heard the story, and I saw that this guy, he wasn't the youngest fellow on the block, was going to lose his family heritage, his shop, and everything else that goes with it. I asked him a question. I said, James, if I help you get out of this, do you promise to do everything that I ask you to do without question? And he said, yes. I said, damn it. I wish he said no. But he said yes. And so I set to work to help him. Now, we did a massive turnaround on this business. And you know what? Within 6 months of him having 19 months of straight losses, we took him from a potential loss of $360,000, that's based on his past cash flow, to making a profit in 6 months of $59,000. So guys, that's facing your inconvenient truth. And he had so many. I think he holds the world record for inconvenient truths. Should have seen the things happening in his business. I haven't got time to go into them. But guys, that's what's possible, okay? That's what is possible. Isn't that exciting? This is why I always have a smile on my face. This is how I make my living, guys. I make other people successful and I get paid a fortune in return. It's a great life. Look at these guys, Alex and James Medved. Now, they came and saw me. James knew he had a crappy online presence and he knew his marketing really sucked. He came and he saw me. He said, Ian, I'd like your help. And it is not a foregone conclusion, ladies and gentlemen. I actually select the people that I work with. And so he approached me and I said, all right, I'll help you. And he went away. But it took him 8 months to come back for whatever reason. He had his reasons with Alex, but it took him 8 months to get back to me and say, look, I'm ready now. So when I actually fixed his website and when I fixed his marketing, he went from doing 1 horse float a month, and they sell for about $25,000, to doing, look, it varies 5, 6, 7 a month, okay? Pretty amazing within a couple of months. In fact, their words is that they turned into Australia's fastest growing horse float company, okay? So that's the impact. Now you do the maths, okay? 1 float a month, 25,000, even I can do this. So 6 horse floats a month, that's 50, that's 100, okay? That's holy crap, that's an awful lot of money, okay? So are you getting an idea on the impact of this? All right. So you got $125,000 a month coming, and you used to have 25,000. Now it took him 8 months actually to take action. So this is a term that I learned from Alex Mendoza. It's a very powerful one, and it's something that I want all of you to remember. It's called the cost of inaction. So he's great. And actually, I was talking with Alex just this afternoon very quickly. They wanted to be in this call, but it's James's birthday. So hello, James. But essentially, they took that 8 months to get back to me. And we're making 25,000. We're not making 125,000. So guys, over 8 months, that's $1 million of lost revenue. Are you with me on this? Can you do the maths? Pretty simple. $1 million because it took 8 months to make a decision to actually say yes. Now, it also then took another while for us to create all the marketing and the website and all the other components there, but they delayed their increase in cash flow by 8 months. So what does that work out to? If we put that in real terms, that's $3,125 per day, ladies and gentlemen. Now, that's the cost of inaction. How many times have you found yourself perhaps having trouble making a decision? Because that's what it can cost you if you sit on the fence for too long. Now, this implementation workshop, I am so excited about the results that we're going to get from here, but I really want you to understand how much the impact of this is going to have. I've never put so much work into anything in my life. And let's just say, if you came for 1 day to the workshop and all that this day did was improve your leads by, say, 10%, improved your sales conversion by, say, 10% as well, to take from 25 to 35%, and you had a referral system where you were getting maybe 5 great new leads a week, would that be worth it for you to spend a day with me? Even if it's $2,000, you know, wouldn't that be worth it? Well, I think it'd be worth it, and I can't read the chat at the moment, but hopefully you're all saying, yeah. Okay, so what if that happened? If you spent a day with me and that's what you got, okay? Well, let's just have a look at the impact of that. So imagine it's the furniture store again that I went through that referral example on. You have 100 leads coming into your business. You got a 25% conversion rate happening. That means you've got 25 customers. Okay, well, 25 customers, and you're selling each customer some furniture at $1,500. That means your total income's $37,500. Are you with me on this? So per month, that's your monthly income, $37,500. Then you come to the Inconvenient Truth workshop and you spend a day with me and you learn some pretty straightforward principles to put into your business, and you work out how to get an extra 10% improvement in your leads. So instead of 100 leads per month, you get 110. Instead of 25% conversion rate, you get 35% conversion rate. Instead of having no referrals coming into your business, you've now got 10 referrals coming into your business. Well, ladies and gentlemen, just those few tiny little tweaks would take you from $37,500 to $72,000. Now, who likes that? Okay, if that happened in your business, would that be a pretty good day? Well, again, this is how we spend our lives, and this is what we do day in, day out for people. So you can understand why clients pay me $5,000 a day to coach them. And I've got a waiting list. So I've just got too many projects on to have many private clients at the moment. But if you got one golden nugget, what could that do to your business? It have a massive impact. And that's what I spend my time doing, is just looking for those golden nuggets. So look, the investment, I told you I had two choices, $2,000 or just you guys cover my costs. Well, here's the deal. I've hired a room in Adelaide. Now, it's going to cost me about $10,000 for the room. That's because I'm actually going to be feeding you, and I've got to have all of the other bits and pieces in there and fly over there, and the accommodation. In fact, it's probably even going to cost a little bit more than that. But, you know, I decided I'm not going to charge you the $2,000. All I'm going to do, I'm just going to make this a no-brainer, ladies and gentlemen. $97 for you to come to this one-day workshop with me. And we are just going to go full tilt. We're actually going to start helping a lot of businesses in Adelaide really start getting some pretty incredible results. Now, I hope this sounds appealing to you. Now, what I also want to know is right about now, there should be a button underneath, and that button should be showing you a screen that you can click it and say, yes, please reserve my spot. Well, it'd be great for you to act now, because there are only 100 places. That's all that I took the room for. Oh, by the way, you know, I'm going to be feeding you healthy food. An inconvenient truth, ladies and gentlemen, I love chocolate cake more than the average teddy bear, okay? But an inconvenient truth is that if you eat junk food and you drink junk lolly water and you don't exercise, well, you're not going to be working at your best. And so it's all right to have a little bit in moderation. But that's what the Greeks say, all things in moderation. But ladies and gentlemen, I want you to have healthy food. So I don't want you having a nana nap, give you a big meal at lunchtime, and then you fall asleep on them and all this information's happening. So we're going to have some nice healthy food there for you. Now, you've got two choices, guys. I've helped as much as I can. I've tried to give you insights into how much and really how straightforward it is to start changing results in business. So your option now is do nothing and keep getting the same results that you've always gotten. Or your other option is that for only, you know, a ridiculous price, $97, you get to spend a day with me. We're going to do nothing but work on your business and brainstorm and look at what's going on in the dynamics and really analyze the impact and what you want to achieve in your organization. And so if that makes sense and you want to start getting a different result to what you're getting now, well, I want to see you at this workshop. I want to meet you and I want to share. And I want you to be honest and I want you to be serious so that we can share inconvenient truths together. The amount of success stories that we've created, it's huge. There are hundreds and hundreds. If you haven't worked it out and you haven't seen our YouTube channel, there are literally hundreds and hundreds of success stories like the few that I've just shown you here. Why? Well, because we're straight shooters. I'm very proud of the fact that I will not lie or say anything to get someone's money. I think you've worked that out. What I do want to do is get very serious about your success if you're serious about it. So if this works and you come to me for a day and it works, well, great, fantastic. And if not, look, just tell me that you're not happy and I'll give you double your money back. Okay, so there's not a drama. I don't want your money. I don't need it. But my guarantee, and I take this very seriously, if in the unlikely event you have not found at least $50,000 in hidden profits in your business by the end of the workshop, simply let me know and I will double your investment back to you. Okay, so that's my guarantee. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm really excited. I don't want you to wait 15 years like I did, struggling to try and work out what I was missing to make $1. All I want you to do is not go through the pain that I went through. You know, 15 years watching these guys getting the nice things, the nice cars, the nice houses, and don't say you haven't seen it yourself. And look, I don't have a jealous bone. I really do. I wish people well. But, you know, it's got to get on your dander a little bit when you see that sort of thing happening. So how do you fix that? Well, just start learning what successful people do. Come to the workshop. It will be. I reckon that there's going to be so many raving fans from this workshop when we're completing it. It's going to be spectacular. So just click on the button below that you're seeing and reserve your place now, or even go straight to that link that you see here, theinconvenienttruth.com.au/offer, and you'll go and you'll register and hurry up because, as I said, there are only 100 places. You are just covering my costs to get there. And we're going to make some magic together, ladies and gentlemen. Now, what's going to happen when we get there? Well, look, we're going to be examining your online presence. I'm going to be having a look at what you're doing. Remember, I have made so many sites that have done millions and millions of dollars. It'll make your head spin. Examine your systems or lack thereof. You know, you got to be honest, okay? But because as soon as you examine something and look at it, okay, it's called the Hawthorne effect. As soon as you observe something and look at it, it gives you an instant and immediate improvement in that thing that you're looking at. So when we start looking at your systems and you start working on your business instead of in it, the results are quite amazing. We're going to be showing you my $1 million success habits. These are things that I do day in and day out. Your productivity is going to go through the roof. You'll be able to do 3 times as much in a day as what you're currently doing, and you'll have that clarity of focus to get it done. We'll be examining your lead generation system. So understand this. I'm going to be getting you to show us, and we'll be talking, and there won't be any embarrassing moments or anything like that. We're going to be there in a very caring environment, helping each other improve our businesses. And by the way, do you think one of the topics I'm going to be teaching is joint ventures? Do you think that with 100 sharp cookies in there from Adelaide that I won't be able to get some deals happening between you guys and you start making money just with each other? Of course I will. It's going to be great fun. We're going to be looking at you developing your referral system and working out how to make that happen. We're going to look at your sales system and see that you're optimizing it and making sure that there's no missing parts there and that you're going to get the best conversions that you can. What about a follow-up? Have you got a follow-up system? Man, are you ticking the boxes? Can you see the impact that this is going to have? We're going to be doing this and just so much more. I'm going to be having a ball with you guys when we get over there. Now, there's one last gift that I've got for you. And look, this has probably gone already. Another inconvenient truth, and I've mentioned it earlier, is for an entrepreneur to be able to make a quick decision. When you see that something makes sense, when you see that this is really a really good deal, well, you don't delay. You just act on it, because if you're too slow, you miss the opportunity. But the first 10 people to register now, the first people to put your details in there and reserve your spot, you're going to have 1 full hour strategic consult with me. Now, again, what's that worth? Well, many people would say that's priceless. I get requests all the time for to have a look at people's businesses. And look, I want to help everyone, but I am only human, so I don't have that much spare time available, because I also love my family and I guard my time jealously. But guys, look, first 10 people that have registered would have your numbers on there. That's the benefit of being a fast action taker. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope I've done a great job. I've done you proud. I hope that you've gotten a lot out of this hour. And how long have I been on? Probably about an hour and a half, I'm guessing. Yeah, look, within 3 minutes again. I told that by the sun, you see, even though it's dark here. So, guys, I'm actually going to now take the PowerPoint off, and I'm going to try and see live chat and see if there are any chats there. And if there are any questions, well, I'm happy to answer them. But make sure you register now. Don't delay. Just reserve that seat. Once those 100 seats are gone, they're gone. And there were an awful lot of people on this webinar. I'll see the stats after they're all done. But, man, like 1,300 people came and checked us out and wanted to know more. So, guys, I will stop sharing now. And I'm going to open the chat box. And what do we got here on the Q&A? So has anybody got anything that they would like to ask and questions? What do we got here? So it's loading up. You guys there that are listening, just put your details into that order button that I'm hoping is there. Tom, you haven't told me if it did turn up. It'd be very embarrassing if it didn't. Has anyone got any questions on what we've covered here, guys? There are a lot of people still on the call, and I'm here to help. I'll be disappearing in a little while, so use me while you can. And what does this say? I think I might be teasing you. There you go. I was teasing you, and I do humbly apologise, guys, but that feature is disabled in this technology. There you go. Guys, once again, enjoy the book. I've put my heart and soul into it. You're going to love it. Please give us feedback. I want to hear. I want to know the impact that this information is having on your world. So until then, seeing as you can't ask me any questions, I'm going to wish all of you the very best for your future and all the success that you deserve. Ladies and gentlemen, Ian Marsh signing out, and I will see you hopefully in Adelaide. Bye for now.